What gang? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you on Wednesday morning. Hope everybody's doing good today. Want to talk some college football this coming Saturday specifically. Alabama visits Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. They come in ranked number 4 in the country. I want to do a preview on that game and give you my official prediction on it. But before we get into that, if you're new around here, consider staying true around here by subscribing to the Carolina Jackpot channel. We recently passed 14,000 subscribers over on this channel. I think we're at 14,001 right now. I have a lofty goal of 100,000 set for this channel, and I think that it's absolutely achievable given the trajectory that we've been on the past 12 years since we've been doing YouTube. I need your support. Share the videos out. Let's cover a little bit more of the earth with the Carolina Jackpot brand and get it out there. I appreciate you doing that, and I also will appreciate you hitting the thumbs up on this video if you would. It helps me out, so I'm told. Now let's get into it. Yeah, I have tried to start making this video 3 times and I continue to get sidetracked, so I'm going to try my best to stay on topic here, and that topic just being South Carolina-Alabama matchup. I keep on getting into tangents about talking about South Carolina and our poor play this year. Obviously, the season hasn't gone like we wanted it to. South Carolina's sitting here at 3-4, and at this point is going to have to pull off an extremely big upset, probably as a double-digit underdog against one of 3 ranked SEC teams, plus beat Clemson at the end of the season, which becomes, or it looks more and more achievable every day, and beat a Coastal Carolina team, which a lot of people have South Carolina losing to Coastal Carolina. Everybody's so down bad they think they're going to lose to Coastal. That's not happening, okay? Let me just tell you, South Carolina's not losing to fucking Coastal Carolina. If they do, you know, if you turn your fan card in, I can't say that I wouldn't blame you on that deal. But that's what they're staring right now. So barring an insane upset, they're not going to make a bowl game this year. It would be the second time in 3 years under Shane Beamer that South Carolina has not made a bowl game. And people wonder why I want this guy gone from Columbia. We're delaying the inevitable here by not going on ahead and pulling the plug. But South Carolina versus Alabama comes up. Alabama has reeled off 6 wins in a row after a head-scratching loss to open the season against Florida State, and that loss becomes even more and more head-scratching as Florida State continues to pile up losses. I'm chalking that up. Alabama just wasn't ready. They weren't taking Florida State seriously, and that can happen to you if you don't take a team seriously, especially to start the season off, because you don't know what you're going to get. They caught them by surprise, ambushed them, but it was probably, hindsight being a thing, a good loss for Florida State, or for Alabama. It's not going to hurt them in the SEC title race. Probably not going to ultimately hurt them in their hunt for the college football playoff. And it kind of galvanized the team because Kalen DeBoer has done an excellent job of rallying the troops here. You haven't seen Alabama have the head-scratching losses to unranked teams that they had last year. And a lot of the reason for that is they hadn't played many unranked teams. They played Wisconsin and UL Monroe earlier in the season who were unranked, but ever since then it's been ranked matchup after ranked matchup. They rounded off with a win on the road at Georgia. They followed it up a week later by beating Vandy at home 30-14 in a game that was close throughout, and Vanderbilt even led for portions of that game. We kind of always knew Alabama was going to take over in the second half and win that game, just based off talent and depth, and that's what they did. Had a win at Mizzou a couple of weeks ago, 27-24, that we thought, this one could get dicey too, but it always felt like watching it, as I was watching that sitting in a taco bar in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, waiting on South Carolina to go shit down their leg against LSU. It always looked to me like Mizzou was just one step behind Bama that entire game. And I thought that was the way it was going to play out. And then, of course, last week, 37-20 win at home over the Tennessee Vols, who claimed that they were only one play away. If they hadn't thrown that 99-yard pick six, then things would have been a lot different in that ball game. Sure. They're rolling. Ty Simpson is playing at a really high level right now. I think he's 18 touchdowns to 1 interception. If I'm not mistaken, that's mind-bogglingly good. And probably the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And I don't think anybody thought this guy would win the Heisman Trophy at the beginning of the season. We saw names like Arch Manning, Lenora Sellers, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier. None of those guys have panned out, but he certainly has, and in an absolute major way. Playing at a really high level right now. Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams leading the team in receptions, both of them over 400 yards on the season. And then, of course, they missed Jam Miller for a lot of the season. Recently came back. He's leading the team in rushing right now. So they've kind of rounded themselves out offensively. Looking at them defensively, South Carolina's not going to be able to throw the ball on this team. They're ranked number 10 in the country against the pass, and number 82 against the run. So there are some yards to be had on the ground against Alabama. Unfortunately, South Carolina's not going to be able to take advantage of that. In my mind, this is the worst offensive line in the Power Four. And it pains me to say that, and I've listened to probably 12 YouTubers or so give their predictions on this game, and all of them pretty much say the same thing, just in a different way, which is about the same thing that I'm going to arrive at here in just a few minutes, and that the offense is just mind-bogglingly bad. Looking back throughout Shane Beamer's tenure here, we've given up 30, 29, 40, 41 sacks, and are on pace to give up more than 41 this year. It's incredible the level of incompetence that it takes to field such a bad unit year after year after year, and you've done absolutely nothing about it. Yet until your hand was forced to do something about it a couple of weeks ago. No one can have success if they don't have guys in front of them blocking. And I've talked about it so much till I'm blue in the face. It's almost as blue as this here shirt I'm wearing. Tired of hearing every other YouTuber talking about Lenore Sellers. He's running for every play. He's running for his life. Well, he actually has performed better at times when he was running for his life, but it doesn't need to happen every single damn time he touches the football. So you've effectively wasted him this year. What's going to happen with him next year? I don't know. He's not ready for the NFL. This season clearly has damaged him. I don't know what it's going to take to get the guy to come back to South Carolina. I mean, there's no way, if I were him, there's no way that I would come back here. I would test my water in the portal and go somewhere. He would have, even though he's a bit of damaged goods right now, he would have an absolute ton of coaches breathing down his neck, wanting him to come to their program and offering him a barrel full of money to do so. That's what I would do. I would trust myself in the transfer portal, especially if Shane Beamer comes back as head coach, because I know things are not going to get any better for me. So that's where I'm at with that. There are yards to be had against Alabama on the ground. That's where South Carolina needs to attack them, but they're not going to do it. I was listening to something the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, Gamecock. He's on a YouTube channel, the Chief Sports Network. Not really a YouTuber, but he kind of works for 24/7 Sports. That writes articles. This is JC Sherbert. If you're a big Gamecock fan, you know who JC is. And talking about Mike Shula and the offensive play calling and why he may be so kind of stick in the mud-ish in that if you've noticed, when we do something that works, he will immediately go away from it and not do it again. Kind of like with the Matthew Fuller deal in the LSU game. With the 72-yard touchdown run, and then he doesn't get the ball again. That's one example, and kind of explain that as to maybe, being an ex-NFL offensive coordinator, which Shula has been in the NFL for years, ever since he got fired from Alabama. He's bounced around different jobs in the NFL as an OC and analyst and other types of offensive jobs. Is that maybe, in the NFL, when you do something that works, you can't go back to it because those guys are too smart to fall for that on the next play. So that we're trying to, not that he's trying to run his college offense like an NFL offense, it's maybe that his mindset is so geared towards that he thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's really not, because it's not a good college offense. Look, I mean, you've coached in college before, dude, and you know where you're at. And when you're in Rome, you got to do as the Romans do. So I get that. I understand where he's coming from there, but I'm not accepting that as any kind of excuse for his terrible play calling. It's just been horrible all the way around, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that South Carolina is more talented than every team that they play, because they're not. But at the same time, they have enough talent on paper to match up against a lot of the teams that they're losing to, and there's absolutely no excuse for it. Absolutely no excuse for it. So Alabama comes in this matchup after taking on 4 ranked teams in a row and beating them. 2 at home, 2 on the road. This looks like it would be a letdown spot. It looks like it would be the spot where South Carolina could either potentially pull off a massive upset or keep the game uncomfortably close for Bama. However, I can't trust South Carolina's offense to score enough points. I can't trust the running game to be able to get any yards against an Alabama run defense that's been a little bit leaky this year. We saw it last week. Decene Bishop for the Voltards get about 125 yards on the ground against them. The trouble is, Tennessee actually has an offensive line who can open up some holes and open them up kind of consistently enough for someone to have a decent game on the ground against a team like Alabama. You don't have that. Also, what's not being talked about either, because the offense has just kind of, the offense and their ineptitude has dominated so many conversations around Gamecock football and its woes. That run defense has been pretty shitty, brother. I mean, it's been pretty bad. You've kind of let some no-name running backs that have not really had great games at any point this year have some really nice games. Last week, Torrey Blaylock for, is it Torrey or Troy? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Blaylock for Oklahoma, over 100 yards. Guy ain't went over 100 yards all year. In the game against LSU, Caden Durham rushes for about 70 yards. Caden Durham has had shitty games all year long until he plays South Carolina. Seth McGowan, who played for Kentucky, over 100 yards, most of it in the first quarter against you. Just absolutely gassed you. Oh, and by the way, this might be a little bit unpopular for me to say, and forgive me if I say this in a term that's going to offend somebody, but you remember, he was the son of a bitch who threw that football that ended up hitting Lenore Sellers' grandpa, who was in a wheelchair, in the face, or not in the face, hit him in the shoulder, I'm sorry, in the first quarter of that game after he scored. You know, they had to take him off the field in a ambulance on Saturday night. Turns out he was okay, though. He came back and actually played in the game. But he had to go to the hospital. Karma's a bitch, my guy. Karma's a bitch, my guy. I got somebody like, that's the Uncle Lou thing, the my guy. Got somebody on here who likes me to say that, so I'll say it. But don't do shitty things to other people, and shitty things like that won't happen to you, Brother Mansky. So no one's talked about this terrible run defense. It'll show up again on Saturday. Jam Miller will have over 100 yards against South Carolina. Let me get down to my prediction on this one. Over under at 47.5. I think that's going to go slightly under. Because I don't think South Carolina is going to do its part to score enough points to get to that point total. My final score in this ball game: Alabama 34, South Carolina 10. I don't think South Carolina is able to cover that 12.5 point spread, and I do think Alabama gets a relatively easy victory. I think that South Carolina may come out and score an early touchdown, kind of a do-wop, feel-good type thing, and then just get absolutely smothered by the Alabama defense, and depth, talent, and all that good stuff is going to take over in the second half of the ball game. And Alabama's going to secure up another win at home or on the road here against, this time, an unranked team in South Carolina. And that's pretty much where I stand on that one, guys. Alabama 34, South Carolina 10. Yet again, another bad loss at home. South Carolina's going to drop to 3-5 on the season, and any chances of a postseason are all but gone at this point. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of Gamecock fans, I think, that are probably secretly hoping that they lose the rest of their games by as much as possible, so that we can go on ahead and just stop the bleeding now, maybe, and move forward with new leadership for the football program. I don't know what's going to happen. To be honest with you, I'm in the camp of Shane Beamer's going to be back next year. Because I think that his buyout might be a little bit too much that they don't want to pay. B, I think that with a new athletic director, that Shane Beamer might just be, he may be able to spin just enough of a line of bullshit to make him believe that he's going to be able to fix things, because he loves it here. He loves it here. Guy, you love the paycheck that you're getting every week. You're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody. The Virginia Tech thing, it's not been filled yet. You don't hear a whole lot out there about Virginia Tech and their coaching search and who they're looking at. Now, I'm not really in lockstep with VT sports media, so I don't know that, but I haven't read anything else. All I continue to do is read rumors about Shane Beamer. So I think that does have some legs. I think it would be a wonderful thing if it happened for both parties. I think that he could probably go to Virginia Tech and win. I think Shane can probably out fundraise anybody in Virginia, outside of maybe like maybe like a James Franklin or something. I don't think he's going to Virginia Tech. I've said for a while that I think James Franklin would be a great fit at Stanford. Come from an academic place at Vanderbilt, going to an academic spot in Stanford, I think it would be a match made in heaven, and I think he could win games at Stanford, because I think you can win games there. It's been a brand at one point in time, just kind of fell apart inexplicably around the end of the 2010s. I don't think that anybody could recruit any better in Virginia than Shane Beamer. I think he would possibly be somewhat successful there. And I think that South Carolina would finally be able to open the coaching search up again, and let's see what we can go get. I hear all of the, well, who you gonna get? You ain't gonna get anybody any better. You're South Carolina. I hear this from all these simple-minded people on YouTube and in other spots. Well, guess what? You're always going to be South Carolina if you keep on accepting being South Carolina. That's all you're ever going to be. think out of the box, do something different, and let's go get the guy. Because he's not the guy. I'm telling you, he ain't the guy. I'm telling you, Shane, Emily and the kids would love it in Blacksburg, Virginia. I know that Emily probably loved it there at one point in time. I know the kids were a lot younger when they were in Blacksburg, Virginia, but I'm telling you, I know deep down they're yearning to go back. Absolutely yearning to do that, man. So you really need to make that happen. Anyway, Alabama wins 34-10 over South Carolina on Saturday afternoon. And, hey, not a lot more you can say about that one. On to the next ass beating against Ole Miss the next week. Anyway, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for showing up this morning. I'll see you all later on. Appreciate you. Peace, and I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks. Woo!